Welcome to Min to Max Math, where we make math make sense. In this video, I will go over how to use the quotient rule. We use this rule when we are dividing two functions, in this case, f divided by g. To take the derivative, I'll draw a long fraction line, and in a denominator, I will be squaring g. Don't forget to square g. This is a common mistake that students make to not square g, so be sure to square g. And in a numerator, I will be subtracting. First, I will be multiplying g times f prime, then subtract that by f times g prime. Let's look at our first example. In this first example, we know that we can use the quotient rule because we are dividing one function by another. First, I will identify my f and g's. F is the function on top, which is the natural log of x, and g will be the function on the bottom, which is x squared. Next, take the derivative of each. The derivative of natural log of x is 1 over x, and the derivative of x squared, just simply use the power rule, which is 2x. Now that we have our four components, let's plug them in into our quotient rule. When taking the derivative, don't forget to draw your long fraction line, and in a denominator, we are squaring g. So g, again, is x squared. Then don't forget to square this bottom function. And remember that for the numerator, we are subtracting. First, we will multiply g by f prime. So that is x squared times 1 over x. And then next, subtract that by the product of f and g prime. So that is the natural log of x times 2x. Now let's simplify our function. So in the numerator, let's simplify x squared times 1 over x, which will give us x, and then copy down the subtraction sign, and then multiply the natural log of x by 2x, which is just 2x times the natural log of x. Next, in the denominator, we're going to square x squared, which is just x to the fourth power. Now we can simplify the numerator. So we'll do that by factoring out the greatest common factor, which is x. So I will factor out x in the numerator. So what's left is going to be 1 minus 2 times the natural log of x. And the denominator stays the same. And we can simplify this one more time by simplifying x divided by x to the fourth power, which will give us x cubed in the denominator. And in the numerator, just write what's left, which is 1 minus 2 times the natural log of x. So this right here is our derivative of our original function. Let's look at one more example. In this example, we have sine of x divided by cosine. Let's identify our f and g's and their respective derivatives. So f is the function on top, which is sine of x. G is the function on the bottom, which is cosine. Next, take the derivative of each. This is something you just have to remember. So the derivative of sine of x is cosine, and the derivative of cosine is negative sine of x. Now plug in these four components into our quotient rule formula. Again, don't forget to draw your long division sign. And in the denominator, we are squaring the g function, which gives us the square of our cosine function. And remember that we are subtracting in the numerator. So first, multiply g by f prime, which will give us cosine square of x. And then next, subtract that by the product of f and g prime, which will give us negative sine of x times sine of x. So let me just write this all out. So sine of x times negative sine of x. Now let's further simplify our numerator. So we have cosine square of x. Okay, and remember that negative and negative become positive. So we have positive sine square of x, and the denominator is the square of our cosine function. And if you remember your trig identities, cosine square plus sine square will equal to 1. And so the denominator stays the same, which is the square of cosine. And also remember your trig definition. 1 over cosine square of x is the same as saying the square of your secant function. And that's it. Be sure to like and subscribe for more step-by-step calculus help.